I just wanted to talk about long hair versus short hair in general, since it's a common topic nowadays. I generally view women to be more attractive when they keep their hair long versus when they have short hair. Yes, there are women who are attractive no matter what length the hair is, within reason, and maybe you can argue in their cases that they can be given the same rating whether they sport a short or long hairstyle. But you can never argue that in any woman's case, them having short hair is an upgrade to them having long hair. This woman has a really attractive face, and she went from Stacy to Karen in one haircut. It's the same for men. No man gets an upgrade in looks when they have short hair versus them having long hair. Men look majestic when they have long hair if they're attractive. Scissors and haircuts are unnatural in the first place, so how can it be that we're at our most attractive when we do something to ourselves that isn't even possible in nature? A man with short hair is like a lion who's had its mane shaved off. Having little or short hair is a sign of malnourishment or poisoning, naturally speaking, because not everyone is able to have long hair. Almost anyone can have short hair, and anyone can be bald. It's a health indicator just like your skin quality, which is why it's attractive. It's very common for people who have been malnourished or poisoned to have their hair falling out. Their hair has a very dead look to it. In the modern context, the people who are forced into cutting their hair are those who join the military or clergy. Those organizations are about stripping your identity and autonomy away from you so that you can become part of the collective and advance whatever the organization's agenda is. Shaving your head is an initiation ritual to show that you're willing to give up a part of yourself for the group, and people who would want to retain their autonomy aren't allowed to join because they don't want free thinkers. Society likes to present people who have given up their autonomy for the greater good to be heroes and moral citizens for the rest of us to follow. But they're really the biggest slaves. At least the homeless people retain their autonomy, but these ostensibly free people chose to give up their autonomy for nothing. There's many other losses of autonomy besides cutting your hair short, such as stealing your time, the food you're forced to eat, the uniforms you're forced to wear, the behavior you're forced into, and effectively forced chastity. Yes, in the military there's no vows of chastity, but if you're away from the love of your life, it is basically chastity through forced circumstance. Losing your hair is just the beginning of you losing more and more of your autonomy. It is a form of self-mutilation because you're literally cutting away pieces of your identity. It's a psychological trick that they're using to get you to stay in the organization, because once you've lost your hair, you'll want to stay. Otherwise, losing your hair would have been a loss for you. Cutting your losses is very hard, especially when it's visible. When a civilization absorbs a people, they force them into their customs. Forcing haircuts on people erodes their identity, which is what happened to the Native Americans. In this case, it was seen as civilizing them. It wasn't always forcing you to cut your hair, but it was also forcing people to cover their hair as well. The Irish War of Independence had both sides forcibly cutting off women's hair as a form of political violence. They called it punishment shearing or bobbing. It's a weapon of war, and these locks of hair that were stolen are considered war trophies. In my opinion, it's no different than a serial killer taking an item from each of his victims as a trophy. even outside of breaking people down for the sake of molding them into perfect pawns, cutting people's hair or forcing them to cut it short is still a form of humiliation. I'm not saying that there weren't any societies where short hair was seen as a higher status, but I have found far more examples of long hair being favoured. People theorize that the cultures that had short hair favoured was because the older men who are balding wanted to keep the status, so they inverted people's values so that everyone would be reduced to their level with short hair. Given the grain-based diets of the Romans, it's no surprise that they would resort to such trickery. Keep in mind that they depicted the gods as having long hair. Some of you may have heard of Samson, the biblical figure. To be brief, he was a man who got his strength from his hair, and when it was cut, he lost it. When he regrew his hair, he regained his strength and avenged himself by collapsing a temple. So, not only was long hair seen as a status symbol, but it was seen as a source of personal strength. Many cultures, such as the ancient Japanese, ancient Greeks, Native Americans, and the Vikings, saw long hair as indicative of having combat potential and spirituality. I hope this video will steer you in the right direction about whether you want to keep your hair long or short.